Hello and welcome to Scrub Mode, the podcast that sits at the intersection of gaming and monsters. I'm your host Julio. I'm joined by my co-host Jon today.
Hey, that's me.
Yeah, and it's just the two of us today. We're talking about some spooky stuff that happened allegedly, right?
Yeah, I guess that's another name for the podcast. Some spooky stuff that happened allegedly that maybe you can make happen allegedly in your D&D game for fun.
Yeah.
Colon.
Are we going down the monster manual?
Yeah, this is a not often used monster here. We got the Doppelganger.
The Doppelganger.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
I guess
it's like a shapeshifter character, right?
Yeah, exactly. It's specifically a humanoid that turns into other humanoids, but I'm getting ahead of myself. Have you ever heard of something called Capgras syndrome? Or Capgras, I think is more important.
Capgras? No.
Yeah.
Never heard of this.
Okay, so this is the incorrect belief that someone close to you has been replaced by a flawless double for nefarious purposes.
I see. This is a syndrome that people have?
Yeah, this is a mental illness you can have.
I see.
In some dire circumstances, the sufferer even believes that their own duplicate is out there, just waiting for them to goof up so it can kill them and take their place. It sounds like a really unpleasant way to live.
Sounds awful.
Yeah. And again, we here on ScrubMode have had our own mental health challenges. Not making fun of anyone with mental health, but that's a scary scenario, and the Doppelganger allows you to inflict it on your players.
That truly sounds like a hell of an existence, honestly. Yeah.
Yeah, it sounds like it's the stuff of nightmares.
Yeah, it really is.
And I think that's why the Doppelganger trope is so common in horror films.
That's true. It's a spooky idea. It's a spooky thought.
Yeah, off the dome, I've got the Changeling, which we'll also talk about Changelings. Mm-hmm. Jordan Peele's Us, where everybody has a doppelganger.
I still need to see Us.
I won't spoil it. Well, maybe I sort of did. Sorry, but you've seen The Thing. You've seen John Carpenter's The Thing, right?
Yeah. The Thing's great. I love that movie. The shape-shifting alien. Yeah.
Yeah, that pretends to be them.
Mm-hmm.
After controlling them.
Mm-hmm.
And connecting it to video games too. I don't know. Do you have any other movie doppelgangers you can think of?
Movie doppelgangers?
Yeah.
I guess I know Face Off doesn't really count, but
I think that's kind of close because they switch faces and they try to take over each other's lives. I don't think you're wrong. Great movie, by the way.
Yeah. Nicolas Cage.
Always a treat. Always a treat.
Nicolas Cage and
John Travolta.
John Travolta, yeah. What a crazy duo.
Yeah. Well, I can't believe that movie got made.
Yeah, for real.
But yeah, video games. There's a boss just called the Doppelganger in Castlevania Symphony of the Night. That's the player character. It's got all your abilities and powers and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
Same thing in Devil May Cry.
Yeah.
There's a Dark Link who's a shadow clone of you, an evil clone of you, in all the Zelda games. This is a common theme across a lot of the stuff we talk about, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, like you, but evil.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it makes sense too. Because what could be the player characters are often broken, and this is true in D&D too.
Mm-hmm.
Right? The boss can't pop health Estus flasks, right?
That's true. So having someone that just has all your abilities as an enemy is a way to balance it, I guess.
Yeah, it's what could be a greater challenge than you
just fighting yourself. You
yeah,
know?
And obviously it's laden with metaphors.
Yeah, it's pretty great.
And can I make a dumb? If you'll allow me to meme for a second, the whole point of Among Us is there's an imposter. There's a doppelganger in there.
Yeah.
Masquerading as a crewman who's actually a monster, an alien, or a murderer, or whatever the little animation has you do.
Yeah.
Creeping
I played
around.
Among Us. I played Among Us on Discord, which kind of defeats the the whole thing, but it was
I
still
think
fun.
I
Again,
think
it
it's more
breaks.
fun with friends. Online, it's always just like I don't know.
Yeah, it's fun with friends.
Um,
It's a good game. Among Us, pretty
yeah,
brilliant concept. Yeah,
not for me, but props to the studio. I hope they all get fabulously wealthy.
yeah,
And touching back, right, like we had our Sneeple episode, the UNT can
yeah.
execute people and
Shapeshifters.
shapeshift into human form to like
Like what are they called in Marvel? The freaking
scrolls. Oh my god,
the
how could I forget the
scrolls.
scrolls? Yeah.
Yeah, the scrolls. Yeah,
I didn't put comic books on my list at all. You're so right.
yeah,
Or Mystique is for all my X-Men stands out here.
yeah. Oh
That's her
yeah,
whole
for real.
power.
Mystique, her whole power is shapeshifting.
And
But
she
I
often
guess the
uses it to pretend
doppelgangers
to
are a little
be
different because they only look like you, right? They can't change shape or whatever.
yeah, so in the lore, which we'll get to in a second, they can't
Mm-hmm.
it just looks like you, but in D&D they're all it's a species of mystiques.
Mm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Um I guess like hey, that's a good segue. Let's get into it.
Yeah.
Um side note, we'll also talk about changelings, but we mostly talked about them in the Cambion episode.
That's true, huh? Yeah.
Yeah, but this
Changelings.
is changelings in D&D. In lore, changelings are like a supernatural creature that replaces your baby.
Mm-hmm.
In D&D, changelings are specifically half humanoids of whatever species and then half doppelgangers.
Right.
Um,
Mm.
and they're playable characters, but let's talk about doppelgangers first. They go back to 1980, the Greyhawk campaign book. So this
Mm-hmm.
is an old ass monster.
Mm-hmm.
In the fifth edition,
1980. From when?
1980, before either of us were
1980.
fucking born.
Yeah, 10 years before we were born.
Yeah,
About.
give or take.
Yeah.
Um, Described as lazy, hedonistic swindlers and conmen, doppelgangers are monstrous humanoids able to shift their form to perfectly replicate a small or medium-sized humanoid.
Mm.
So like basically all the humanoid races, right? Anything from gnomes on up to like Goliaths and
I
half
see.
orcs.
I see.
Helping them carry out this ruse, they can also read your mind.
Hmm. Wow, of course they can read your mind. That's kind of
Yeah,
busted.
yeah, right. Because if you're like, tell me something only Julio would know, and then I'm like, Julio would only know this. The doppelganger can then be like this, and you're like, okay, I guess that's the real Julio.
Oh no.
Yeah, and not a horrible guy trying to steal his life.
Yeah.
Um,
Oh man.
so the monster manual says like they'll often like group together into evil secret societies, and then they'll like infiltrate positions of power, and they'll cover for each other. So like they'll
Mm.
sneak into a noble's house, kill the noble, kill his family, kill his guards,
Mm-hmm.
and then they'll take on those roles, and they'll just live off all the noble's wealth until he goes bankrupt, and then they'll disappear and find another place
I
to
see.
leech off.
Mm-hmm. In a lot of ways, it kind of reminds me of what was that one yokai who the God King Emperor Grandpa?
Oh yeah, yeah, the big headed, I can't remember his name, but the big headed one who just like walks into your house and everyone's like, "It's Grandpa, we love Grandpa."
Yeah, yeah. He pretends to be a member of your family and slowly leeches your family's like
Wealth
life,
and life
basically.
force,
Well,
depending on the
yeah,
story. Yeah, that's a good
yeah,
call.
yeah. That was a good
Shout out
episode,
to
Yokai.
our animated objects slash yokai episode. Go check it out.
Yeah, yeah. Check out Yokai. That was a fun episode for us.
Yeah. Um, what else about doppelgangers? Uh, it also means that like if they can be bullied into serving someone, they make ideal assassins and spies because they can just you can just kill the vizier and replace the vizier, and everything everyone's saying to the vizier, a doppelganger can relate back to its evil boss.
Yeah,
Or just like
yeah.
walk into somebody's house disguised as their wife and stab them in the gut.
Mm,
Um, Say like, "Hey, it's me, the wife. I've stabbed what's his name in the gut." Sneak out, and now all of a sudden the wife gets blamed for the crime, and everybody saw her do it.
mm.
So they're
I
all
see.
sneaky, sneaky paranoid fucks.
Oh yeah, for real.
Um, like for all the like cool stories we're planting here,
Hmm.
stats wise, they're not very good. They're kind
Right.
of just
Yes.
dudes.
Yeah. They're just they're just people.
Yeah, they're just people. They do have a sneak attack like a rogue,
Hmm.
um, which maybe you could have a particularly powerful doppelganger stack with actually having player character classes in rogue to start one shotting people. But
Yeah.
they're only CR3,
Hmm.
not very good. They're not going to pose a mechanical threat to your players. It's all story and making them spooked. And as I was saying, they can also create half doppelgangers via shapeshifting into sexy forms and then cuckoo birding out, leaving the other person to raise the kid, which
Right.
like they'll look like the parent's species
Hmm.
until they hit puberty, in which case they morph into this weird, featureless, almost gray alien looking monster and realize their true heritage.
Wow.
Which I don't know if that's super sensitive. I don't know.
I don't know, man. I mean, it's an idea for a story.
It definitely is.
Yeah.
Changelings are essentially doppelgangers, except for
Hmm.
they can only shapeshift into like minor facial features, which still makes them good rogues. Back in
Hmm.
the day, they were a pretty popular player character species. I'm not sure how they're faring in fifth edition.
I wonder.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's sort of like the mechanical side of doppelgangers. You got anything to add or any cool stories you want to tell with them? Cool encounters.
Cool encounters. I remember I did have this idea for a shapeshifting, like a pair of shapeshifters who go
Mm-hmm.
around like swindling people.
Yeah, sounds
You
perfect
know?
for that.
Yeah, yeah. Like maybe they infiltrate your group. You know, they're not, but they're not who they say they are. Obviously, you know.
Yeah, or you can use their doppelganger to replace like a beloved player character, like the team or NPC.
Yeah, yeah. That'd be funny. That'd be a good one. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like it'll break your player's heart if you do it right, but I think that's the right way to do it.
Oh yeah. It's great. It's great story fodder. You know.
Mm-hmm. That's
Yeah.
what these story fodder is perfect. Like I said, mechanically, these guys aren't.
Yeah. They're not anything super special.
No, they're not going to put up a fight
Hmm.
unless you give them player character levels or something. But like story wise,
Exactly.
traumatize your players. That's what they're good for.
Yeah.
So of course there are many. They're inspired by some real world monsters.
Yeah. Shape. Yeah. Yeah. For real.
Uh, the most obvious one is, of course, called the Doppelganger. Believe
Yeah.
that?
Doppelganger. Yeah.
So this is a German word that literally means double goer or double walker,
Hmm.
as opposed to like a sort of a mystique type. This is more like a ghost of yourself that you see
Hmm.
before you die.
Oh. Oh. I see.
Yeah, if you see it, it's a really, really bad omen.
See if you see someone who looks like you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's not like we'll get to it when we get to the sightings, but it's like it's not someone that looks like you. It's like
It's like a
people.
ghost.
Yeah, people see you doing the things you normally do, or you
Hmm.
see yourself doing things you normally do, and then a lot like a ghost, it just disappears, and people are like, "I wonder if Julio's okay."
Yeah. Yeah.
I know
That is spooky.
they're
That's
kind of like
very
the
spooky.
banshee in that way, right? Where it's like it's a bad omen.
Like a harbinger almost.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
How about a? Have you ever heard of a fetch?
A fetch? No.
Yeah, spelled exactly like what you tell your dog to do.
I see. No, no.
Um, so like this is a Irish term for a doppelganger, which sometimes we English speakers will use.
Hmm.
But this is specifically a ghost of somebody who's still alive.
Hmm.
Um, so like all the same stuff, and it's supposed to be seen somewhere where it's impossible for you yourself to be. So it's like in a lot of these stories, there'll be like somebody's off fighting a battle,
Hmm.
and then their wife, I mean, I should say partner, but their wife will see them at home, like in the backyard or smoking a
Hmm.
pipe in their favorite chair or something, and they'll be like,
Yeah.
"Hey, what are you doing here? I thought you were fighting a war
Hmm.
that hunt thousands of miles away," and then that person will just disappear.
Wow.
But there's an Uno reverse card, unlike the Doppelganger, which is like if you see one in the morning, it's a good sign. If you see one at night, you're fucked.
Wow. That's silly.
Yeah, isn't that goofy?
That's pretty goofy. Yeah.
I thought for sure you were going to bring up the tarot connection, right? Like, I don't know if you read with flipped cards.
Oh yeah,
Hmm.
reversed cards.
Yeah, I know
Not
that's
really. I don't really do that. Like I don't have a deck that accommodates for that kind of those kind of readings usually.
what
Because
do you
like
mean?
the artwork on the back has to be the same, so you can't
Oh yeah, I
tell
mean,
if it's
like if
flipped.
when you draw it, if it's right side up to the dealer or it's upside down to you.
Right. Yeah. I don't really have a deck that like well I do have one that where it's like you can't tell if it's upside or down
Oh
by
yeah.
looking at the back. So
Oh,
I
that's
would
what you mean.
don't
Yeah, because I was like, shouldn't the back be the same? But yeah, yeah, you mean you can tell if you
yeah,
gotcha
you can tell
just from the
which
back.
side's up and all that. So I would only do reverse readings for the deck that's like designed for that.
Yeah,
But yeah, yeah.
you don't want to engage in some. You don't want to know what you're pulling before you pull it.
Exactly. Yeah. I like to play into the chaos of it all.
Hmm, hmm.
Yeah.
I think that's important with tarot cards, from what little I know. Is like anyway,
Yeah, yeah.
that's like even if you don't believe they're magic, and I don't, if you think they're more of a self help tool, you got to lean into the apparent chaos and try to draw meaning from it.
Yeah, yeah. I feel like tarot cards are like especially depending on the deck, like it depends on because like some decks have like will have a personality that
That's what
can
I've heard.
yeah, they kind of like some decks will probably blow smoke up your ass a little, kind of like depending on because like especially the Rider Waite deck is like mostly skewed. Even the Tower card is mostly skewed towards a positive. Like there's a positive. There's a way to spin it positively.
Hmm, hmm.
You know.
My wife has like a Brian Froud, who's the guy who did like all the character design for the Labyrinth and a bunch of stuff. Like
Oh
he's
man.
a he's an artist who draws a lot of spooky fairies and stuff. She has a
Right.
Brian Froud fairy tarot deck, and she's like, "Yeah, I'm very careful about doing readings with that one because that deck will intentionally be a little fucker."
I see. Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
well, we're on it because like there's not a
Mhm.
ton of doppelganger. Do you have any decks that have personalities that like you like or you don't use?
I have one that I carry around with me all the time. It's like the
Old
Vertigo tarot.
reliable.
Yeah, the Vertigo tarot deck that I have. I've had it for a really long time. It was like when I first got into tarot, that was the one deck that really stuck
Hmm.
out to me.
So it really is
Yeah,
old reliable. That's the way it called to you.
yeah, yeah, yeah. That one's pretty great. I like that deck a lot. It's based off the Rider Waite, but yeah, I like it a lot. I'm thinking of getting into Oracle cards actually,
Hmm.
which are like tarot cards, but they don't have the traditional structure that the tarot decks have. Like they're more loosey goosey. They can have any number of cards,
Yeah.
any number of meanings. And I was thinking of designing my own oracle card deck and what kind of structure I would apply to it. It's the kind of thing that really appeals to me.
Yeah, I mean, I know lots of people who've done made their own tarot decks or oracle decks. It's like a cool
Hmm.
art slash brain exercise.
Yeah, it's fun. It's a lot of fun.
Do you know what the
Still
theme
work.
of your own would be?
The theme of my own, yeah,
Yeah.
I've gone through a couple themes. But like the theme because like I want a theme that's like all encompassing and that's so
Mm.
hard to do, you
Yeah, to
know.
make it have a theme, but also be broad enough you can, make
Yeah,
all the
yeah,
cards.
yeah. I remember I had this idea to do like a D&D theme, but that's been done to death, I feel, especially nowadays. Like I have two decks that are both D&D themed. One is the Fable Makers tarot card deck,
Mm-hmm.
which I have on my shelf somewhere. But yeah, that one and the actual D&D licensed like tarot cards that
I'm
I
not.
got
I
also.
didn't know that existed, but I'm also not surprised.
I know. It's funny cuz like you have to really lead into the satanic panic of it all and how
Oh
like
yeah,
the Venn diagram of people into D&D and the people into like tarot cards is like almost a circle, I
yeah,
feel.
yeah. I think I'm gonna have to agree with you on that one.
Yeah, it's ironic too cuz like I don't know. It's you want to think of D&D in the context of like a game, and tarot cards are also exist in the context of games. They're games you can play with tarot decks.
Yeah, yeah. I mean,
It's,
not to spoil the magic, but they did start as gaming cards before
yeah,
they got spun into oracular devices.
yeah.
There's nothing wrong with
So
that. Same thing with dice. Just anything that can give you random chance you can read into.
yeah,
But tarot
exactly.
cards look really fucking cool doing it.
They are. I was also thinking of getting into like reading dice, also reading the bones.
Yeah, you should go whole hog and do bones.
Yeah, but I don't know what kind of bones. I'd have to do research.
Yeah, I mean, hey, maybe turn it into an episode. Who knows?
Maybe.
Anyway, uh,
Yeah.
that was a fun detour.
Yeah.
Um, next, have you ever heard of? And I think this is an extremely cool Scandinavian word, a Vardagar.
Vardigoer?
A Vardagar.
Vardiger.
Vardogr.
Dogr?
Yeah,
Vardigar. Wow. That's a great name. That's a great
yeah.
word.
Well, this is our Scandinavian version of the doppelganger.
Mm.
It literally means like mind guardian, from what I can
Mm.
tell. I don't speak Scandinavian, any of the Scandinavian languages.
Hmm.
I've heard like a better translation for it is like forerunner or herald.
Hmm.
Not like herald the name, but like herald somebody who announces your arrival. But
Right.
n-
Right. Right.
not my field of expertise. So this is what's special about this thing. This version of the doppelganger is it is a deja vu in reverse.
Oh,
So this is
that's like
like oh yeah,
it's like
sorry,
something
no,
you haven't done.
no, it's like something you do before you do it.
Hmm. Interesting.
So yeah, so like generally like the most common version that I found is like and I personally have this all the time and I chalk it up to my brain being dumb and not something spooky, but different cultures, different stuff. But like I hear the door opening and my partner coming home, before she actually does.
Hmm.
Um, or like people will see their partner's car pull into their driveway, like 30 minutes before their car actually pulls into the driveway.
Hmm. Hmm. Let's see.
Also, weirdly, this unlike the doppelganger and the fetch, which are like people see you doing something, but it's totally silent. This is mostly sound and smell based, and only occasionally seen. So people like smell your cologne or smell your pipe smoke before you get home.
Hmm.
Sometimes hours before you get home.
Interesting.
And
Hmm.
it's not a bad sign. This is the first one that's not a herald.
Right. It's just kind of a thing that happens.
Yeah, it's just one of those like little Scandinavian, I guess, almost magical reality kind of things.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, in Finland, and God, what's worse than my Scandinavian is my Finnish. I'm not good at Finno-Ugric languages. But in Finland, there is a similar entity. Again, different language groups, but Finland obviously shares a lot culturally with Scandinavia, and it's called an Eteinen.
Hmm.
Eteinen.
Etain.
I'm more than any other word I've ever said on this program, Julio. I am confident I fucked that one up. But
Can you show me how it's spelled?
yeah, um, it's here. It is from my notes. Sorry for the clicking sounds. But it's got a bunch of uh, these aren't English characters. They've got a bunch of accents and modifiers and stuff like that that I just cannot replicate in this format. You might have to Google it.
Oh, Etainen.
I don't
Etainen.
know if the A
Etainen?
there's stuff over the I and the A, so I don't know if they're pronounced as a diphthong like they are in English. I think it might be like etainen.
Etainen. I see.
Again, really unconfident about this one. Very sorry to the Finnish. I think the old wood city you're building's pretty cool.
It's pretty
Very
neat.
sorry. Anyway, cool guy. Not a problem. We like this one.
Yeah, okay.
Um, so let's. How about we get to the spookiest part of this, which is like the sightings,
Oh, man.
moments when people have seen their doppelgangers and bad shit's happened.
How long ago? Or what's the most recent one?
Let's see. I think the most recent one that I have here is 1892, although I have to be honest, there's a ton of stories on Reddit of people saying doppelgangers that I just immediately tossed out.
Yeah. You kind of have to with Reddit, I feel.
Yeah, I just I may be
Nice to-
revealing how internet poisoned I am, but um oh, and it might still say this. I haven't been who knows, but 4chan B famously had emblazoned under the title like don't believe anything you read here. It's all stories and make believe. Only an idiot would believe anything they've seen here.
What's that other like there's a Reddit actually about that called Nothing Ever Happens.
Wait, real? Tell me about this.
So it's like the idea is that didn't actually happen. That's made up, that, and they just apply that to everything on the internet. So
That
it's like
sounds great until you get to like the moon landing and the Holocaust.
exactly. Nothing ever happens.
Uh,
Oh, but it's usually about stuff that's innocuous,
okay.
like
Okay.
some serendipitous, like encounter. Maybe someone claims to see a celebrity, something like that.
It is very funny to have like celebrity stories, then like, have you and me be from LA and being like, yeah, man,
Yeah. I think one example would be like your friend who who was watching Terminator and was like what is that? That doesn't actually exist. And
oh,
he's talking about the LA River. Like these
yeah,
big walled off concrete like like shit.
yeah. Well, to be fair, like he was from some part of like rural Eastern Washington, and he was just
Right.
like, if you haven't seen Terminator 2, friends, there's an extended chase scene in the LA River, which, for all intents and purposes, is a trickle of water surrounded by concrete on three sides.
Yeah.
And so, like, I was watching Terminator 2 in college, and my friend, I can only remember his nickname, which isn't kind. Alex, my friend Alex was like, "That's so fucking ridiculous. That's so fucking stupid. Where in the world does just miles of a concrete half pipe big enough for a truck to fit in just exist and go on forever and ever and ever? It's so stupid. It's so contrived." I'm like, "No, that's the LA River," and he thought we were like making
Thought you were like
fun.
fucking with him.
Yeah, he was like, "Oh yeah, oh I get it because LA is a paved over hellscape, so obviously the LA River would be a paved over hellscape." I'm like, "Well, yes, but also no, that's a real thing. That's the LA River."
Yeah, it's the LA River, and it's mostly all walled off in concrete. I remember seeing plans, like city plans, to like turn the LA River into more of a river, like eventually at some
Yeah,
point in the future, where I saw beautiful like concept like sketches of like parks
yeah.
that they would build alongside it in the future, that kind
Lord
of
knows we
deal.
could use some green spaces and like
Yeah,
I'm
I
not
mean,
a
there's so
climate.
much greenery. I feel in LA, people don't realize. You
Yeah, it's because
know,
it's a desert, so it's like so much that greenery is like it dies in the summer,
yeah, I guess that's true.
unless
Things are
you're like
really
watering
green
it,
right
which we
now.
shouldn't be doing.
Yeah, yeah.
Lawn care is a different subject for a different time. Anyway,
The
I
I
just
feel like
realized
yeah.
we asked backwards, forgot something. It's like the plot of Terminator 2. Like it's a robot, not like a monster, but it kills a police officer and takes over his identity. And then at one point,
Yeah.
pretends to be John Carter's mom in that famous scene where Arnold
y-
asks the question and he gets the question wrong. And he's like, your parents are dead.
Yeah. Yeah,
Great
yeah.
doppelganger scene we just completely whiffed on.
Yeah. Oh yeah. The Terminator,
Yeah,
what, the
T1000.
T1000, the one that's like made out of mercury and shit. That
Yeah, the
guy.
liquid metal one that shapeshifts, exactly.
That was cool. That's a
There you go.
cool. Yeah, there's another shapeshifter. Hmm.
Yeah, I've lost the plot here. Why did we start talking about the
Why
LA
did we
River?
start talking? Yeah, I totally did. I think we started talking. You mentioned Reddit, then I mentioned
Mm,
like,
yeah, that happened. The LA River. I
yeah,
see.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Anyway, man, it'd be fun to do an LA River episode at some point.
We should go biking along the LA River.
This sounds so dangerous.
It's not actually. They're like bike. I mean,
Are
during the
there?
day it's safe, but
Yeah,
like I wouldn't do it at night
yeah. I don't know.
because
I
they do
still
have like they have like actual like parts of the LA River you can like ride your bike across and
on
yeah,
their production meeting. I still want to like go to that spooky canyon, Topanga Canyon, and talk about the UFO abductions. Talk about
yeah.
L. Ron Hubbard and Jack Parsons trying to make a
I want to
moon
do that
baby.
more than hang out at the LA River, but yeah.
Could go to the Houdini house and talk about the ghost and his lifelong fight against psychics.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Anyway, spooky things, spooky stuff.
yeah.
Um, English poet John Donne allegedly saw his wife's doppelganger while she was in back home in England and he was in Paris in
Hmm.
1612. And in his personal writings, he was like, that night my daughter was born a stillborn, which obviously caused great trauma to him and his wife. So he
Hmm.
sort of saw that doppelganger as like an omen that his wife, his daughter would essentially die.
Hmm. Did she?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, she was born a stillborn, so yes.
Oh, I see. I see. Wow, that sucks.
Depending on, I'm gotta be clear, pro-choice. I'm just leaning into what his writings were saying.
I see. Okay.
In his mind, that's what happened.
Right.
The famous like artist and poet Goethe. Maybe not. Maybe you're not super hip to German poetry.
Not really.
He's sort of like Germany's Shakespeare.
Oh, I see.
Yeah. Um, so he had a hot girlfriend named Frederica Brion,
Hmm.
and she was a noblewoman who lived in the next town over.
Hmm.
And so one day, while he was walking to that town, he saw his own doppelganger.
Whoa.
But the dude had drip
Oh.
that at this point in his life Gerda could not afford.
Oh, I see.
He was also on horseback,
Hmm.
which, depending on the account, Gerda was either too poor to afford a horse or was on a much shittier horse.
Hmm.
And the dude was like riding at him. So it was like as if he was riding back from his girlfriend's place
Uh-oh.
back to his home. Yeah, right?
Uh-oh.
Uh, so everything we know says that this would have been fucked up and was a bad sign, but like years later, Gerda would be riding home from Brion's,
Hmm.
only to realize like he was on a horse that was the right color and he was in fancy clothes that were in the right color because it was years later and he was successful now, and that like he was his own doppelganger.
That was him from the future.
Yeah, that's what he thought.
I see.
It was like an omen that everything was going to be okay. It
I
was like
see.
the Flash style time echo. I don't know.
Yeah. Have you seen The Flash yet?
I haven't seen the Flash yet. Again, I'm behind. I'm still playing at COVID save.
Yeah,
Have
I
you?
mean, I remember seeing like someone pirated it, and it was a really really terrible version. I didn't finish watching it, but I did watch some goofy scenes in that movie.
Can
It's
you?
pretty
I've seen some memes of Flash microwaving a baby. Can you explain that to me?
yeah, my Flash saves a bunch of babies who are about to die, like Final Destination style, and like you know, the Flash catches a baby with a microwave,
I see.
and yeah, it's pretty goofy. It's really silly.
I guess spoilers for the Flash. I don't know.
Spoilers for the Flash.
You'll have to put that in the episode notes. This has been a weird one. Where's Ryan to ground us? All right.
Where could he be?
I going back though, I do like that encounter. I do like that it's positive. I do like that he knew that it wasn't him because it had drip. I think that's a cool one.
Yeah, that was an interesting one.
For one of the spookier ones, or I guess this is like the basic doppelganger outline, but what makes this one special is there was a ton of witnesses to it. It wasn't just one person.
That's crazy.
Yeah,
That's crazy.
So Vice Admiral George Tryon, he was seen by his wife and a bunch of guests at a dinner party as he walked silently through his own home on the evening of June 22nd, 1892. Not so weird, except for the fact that he was actually, being an admiral, he was actually commanding the ship HMS Victoria, thousands of miles away off the coast of Syria or Lebanon, when, oopsies, his boat crashed with a different British boat, the Camper Down, and everybody died, including George.
Damn.
Yeah.
Rip.
I think that one's kind of cool. I like that a bunch of people allegedly saw it. That gives me, as a skeptical person, that gives me a little bit of pause.
Yeah, that is interesting.
And then what is this one? I don't find particularly spooky, but it was like anywhere where anyone talked about doppelgangers, the story came up because apparently it was so well documented. We fucked up Scandinavian. I think I did okay on German. We fucked up Finnish. I'm gonna fuck up French now.
Okay.
All right. In between 1845 and 1846, there was a woman named Emily Sangre. God, I'm realizing now I could have fact checked this with my brother. Fuck. She was a French teacher in what's now Latvia. And she was seen at the same time as her own doppelganger several times by a bunch of her students. In one instance, she was like writing on a blackboard, and her double appeared adjacent to her, mimicking all of her movements. But because it wasn't holding chalk, it didn't write anything down. Just like 42 students saw her next to her double.
That's crazy. Wow.
In another instance, again, 42 students saw her picking flowers in the nearby garden, only for her to also appear in the teacher's chair in front of them, and then eventually just fade out. Apparently, while they saw the teacher Amelie, the garden picking Amelie started to, depending on who you read, move slowly and sluggishly, like she was stuck in slow mo, or started to have a seizure. So it's like maybe a psychic projection or something. I don't know.
Who knows?
Play Calvin Ball with me here. Take a stab. What's your Van Helsing theory?
Van Helsing theory? Oh
Yeah.
man. I'm gonna say ghost.
Yeah. Her own ghost? Twin sister ghost?
Twin sister ghost, yeah.
All right, I'll take it. All right, and then the one that I thought would be of particularly of interest to you, Julio, was we're going to talk about one of your favorite authors of all time, Mary Shelley.
Oh yeah, I think I remember this story.
All right, yeah, chime
Mary
in.
Shelley supposedly saw like a doppelganger or something, right?
Yeah, exactly. In the immortal words of Donkey Kong, you can sing along if you know the words too.
Okay.
Put your hands up if you want to clap while I take you through this monkey rap. On June 15th, 1822, Jane, William, and Trelawney, who, through context clues, I believe were servants to the Shelleys, they saw Percy Shelley both pacing around inside their house as well as outside on the terrace. According to Mary Shelley, the only way that would be physically possible would be for him to essentially jump from the second story of their house onto the terrace, which Percy Shelley ain't gonna make a 2-story jump. He's not Iron Man.
True.
And again, relating to our first doppelganger story, the very next day after this was seen, Mary Shelley herself unfortunately suffered a miscarriage. A week later, Percy Shelley had a nightmare about the house collapsing and him drowning in a flood.
Mm-hmm.
And while he was trying to shake that spooky feeling, he decided to just take a walk around his manor house.
Mm-hmm.
And during his nocturnal pacing, he saw his own doppelganger on the terrace.
Oh wow,
Yeah, that's so scary, dude. You just had
that's
the worst
spooky.
nightmare of your life. You're
Yeah,
walking around your spooky haunted mansion by yourself, probably just with one candle in your hand.
yeah.
You notice a weird light outside, and you peek through the window, and there, a story below you, is you in pajamas holding a candle, waving back at you. I don't like.
Wow, that's fucked up. I mean, it could also have been like a case of a double dream.
Yeah. I mean, it could have been. If I'm trying to have fun with this episode because there's no hard
Yeah,
evidence for any of this, but like,
right.
I, right,
That
I think it could
is
easily.
spooky. That is
I think it,
spooky if real. Yeah,
yeah, big if true.
yeah.
But I think it could be a hypnagogic reaction, or this dude's a professional storyteller. He could have made it up to sound fucking cool.
True.
Anyway, so he sees his double outside,
Mm-hmm.
and he goes down to meet his apparition, and shocker, shocker, the double was still there.
Whoa, that's nuts. What do you
Yeah,
do?
so he went outside. And he's like, "Hey, what the fuck?" To which the double responded, "How long do you mean to be content?" And then vanished.
Oh yeah, I remember
You
that
know what
part.
the you know what the sting is?
I remember he did die,
Yep.
and like supposedly people saw him after he died too, right?
That's a new one on me, but yeah, what happened is,
Yeah.
at least according to Mary Shelley, who, by the way, in her own account, she doesn't say how the encounter ended between him and his doppelganger. She
Mm-hmm.
also records the "How long do you mean to be content?"
Hmm.
So like, the next month, Percy Shelley went boating off the
Mm-hmm.
coast of Spain, and he would die of drowning, kind of like in his nightmare.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But I wouldn't be surprised if more people saw his doppelganger after he died.
Yeah, yeah. I think I remember hearing that. I don't know if that's true, but yeah, I remember there was something about a doppel like him seeing a doppelganger
Yeah,
and having a dream of his own death. Yeah, and the death coming true.
it's
Yeah,
the
that.
it's the fact that it's a drowning. People make up all sorts of stuff, whatever coincidences
Mm-hmm.
happen. But like,
Mm-hmm.
it's the fact that it was a drowning nightmare followed by a doppelganger that sticks around long enough for them to have a quick conversation, and then he drowns. It's like more than any of the other ones. This one really does it for me.
Yeah, yeah. It's pretty spooky.
Yeah. I have a few more here, but these are of dubious sourcing. I could not source them like I could the others. So
Okay.
take these. We're all taking these already. Taking these with a grain of salt, but take
Yeah.
this with even more salt. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So Catherine the Great, Empress of Russia, was allegedly resting in her bed when servants warned her that a doppelganger had just sat down on her throne.
Mm.
Uh, Girl boss that she was, Catherine the Great immediately ordered her guards to open fire on it.
Yeah.
Uh, this didn't do anything. Uh, I can't find an account of what happened next, but Catherine the Great would die of illness not long afterwards.
Hmm.
The account unhelpfully doesn't say how long it took after she saw her doppelganger for her to die. I think it's funny. And then lastly, have you ever heard of the French author Guy de Maupassant?
No, I don't think
Uh,
so.
so he allegedly had regular contact with his doppelganger throughout his life, and
Hmm.
he'd talk to his doppelganger, and they'd bounce around ideas for his stories.
Wow.
Which how helpful would that be? Maybe my doppelganger could do the dishes while I did the laundry. I don't know. Um,
Hmm.
this doppelganger shit apparently peaked when, by some accounts, he was writing one day and his doppelganger entered the studio and began to dictate a story to him.
Hmm.
The story was called Horla, which is a tale about an evil entity driving a man to insanity and then using him as a host,
Hmm.
like an evil spiritual parasite.
I see.
Uh, Guy would die in an asylum less than 5 years after the tale's publication.
Wow.
Although I should note, he also had syphilis for most of his life, so maybe this was all just a result of tiny
A
prions
syphilitic
boring
mind.
holes in his brain. I don't know.
A syphilitic mind. I
Yeah,
think I've heard that term somewhere before.
yeah. Syphilis is gnarly. It's a good thing we can treat it with antibiotics now, because if you want to ruin your day, go
For
look
real.
up how they used to do it and what it does to you. Anyway,
For
that's
real.
all I got for Doppelgangers. Were you spooked? Did you have fun? I don't know.
It was great, man. I always just have a great time talking to you, John.
Yeah, right back at you.
Oh man. But yeah, thank you so much, John.
Yeah.
This is great. We had some great moments. I think you know have you ever seen a doppelganger? I don't know. Sure I'm sure if you have, you've probably said it on Reddit.
Honestly, tell us. I again, like
Yeah,
I'm skeptical, but I also am aware of the power of the numinous. And unless you want me to explain it, I won't. Tell us your cool spooky stories. What's our
yeah.
Gmail again?
ScrubModeGames@gmail.com. Send us an email there. Links to do so in the description. Today, this episode's coming out in the Sturgeon Moon, so that's pretty cool.
I should have done a fish based one. Whatever.
It's fine. But yeah, thank you for listening.
Thanks to Jesse Sanders.
Thank you, Jesse Sanders, for making our music. Check him out on Instagram. Links to do so in the description. Um, yeah, it's been great. Hopefully, you're having a good summer. I think this summer is going to be pretty great. I have no idea. This as of the recording of this episode, summer is yet to happen, but we'll see.
Yeah.
Oh man,
I mean, depending on your definition. For me, I define summer by the school system. The moment the school system gets out, it's summer. Even
yeah.
though I'm an adult man and have been for many years.
Oh man. But yeah, hopefully you're having a good summer, Maybe things are just getting going for you, man.
Yeah, we hope
So,
you're having a good summer. You know what? We hope you're having. Go find a water park.
yeah,
Drink a
go
beer
have
on the
some fun.
beach.
Have a barbecue or something.
Yeah, get a bunch of friends together and do something nice with each other. Make a good
Yeah,
summer memory. I don't know. Be nice.
exactly. But yeah, we'll catch you guys next time. I don't know if there's anything else I should be plugging. We'll see.
5 stars. Yeah, yada
Oh
yada. You
yeah,
know the drill. 5 stars, not just on Apple Podcasts, but if you can, and if you listen through it on Spotify now or
Yeah,
Anchor. It's very helpful. Tell a friend. Getting more eyes really, really helps. We're getting close to a milestone.
Mm-hmm.
Leave
Thank
us
you for
5-star
listening.
reviews and we'll read them.
Yeah, leave us a 5-star review. We'll read out your review. And yeah, thank you. We'll shout you out. Thanks so much for listening. We'll catch you guys next time. Bye.